shining star of the family. So we would like to say a loud Hari Bol, as if, say Hari Bol as if it was Dwadashi after Ekadashi. Let's say a loud Hari Bol to all the assembled devotees. So we have a few seminars coming, in today and tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And I would like to invite all of you. See, I lost 2 years of my life because of COVID. And more important than that, I was living in fear for 2 years. Oh, COVID is now in the neighborhood. Oh, COVID is now next door. Oh, COVID is now within my family. Oh no, I got COVID now. So within the past 2 years, I died many times out of fear. So now that I survived by the mercy of Krishna, I think I should make the most of whatever time Krishna has gifted me. So I would like to request, please, if possible, please come closer, so that we can have more informal program. Don't worry, I have taken a bath, so it will be all right. So dear devotees, today we are going to see Krishna Leela, a special focus on Krishna's childhood pastimes, Bal Leela, dear devotees. And I would like to begin by pulling out the biggest gun from my arsenal, dear devotees, as I say, because I was in Texas and people like to pull big guns out of their arsenal. So I learned it there. So today we are going to discuss Bal Leela with commentary by a very special devotee, commentator, who is very close to the heart of my Guru Maharaj, Sri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj. This commentator is named Sri Hari Suri. So dear devotees, we will see Krishna Leela, especially childhood pastimes, with the commentary of Sri Hari Suri. But there is a Shisht Parampara, a tradition established by our previous acharyas to begin with Mangalacharan. Mangal, auspicious, Acharan, invocations. So we will begin with Mangalacharan. Most of us already know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna. So I'll need a devotee who has a strong enough voice, who can act as Akashwani, who can act as a voice that can be heard by everyone. So would anyone like to volunteer for being Prabhuji? You will. So we'll begin with a statement from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Uvacha.
The transcendental pastime of the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna are so powerful that simply by hearing, reading, and memorizing this book, Krishna, one is sure to be transferred to the spiritual world, which is ordinarily very difficult to achieve. The description of the pastime of Lord Krishna is so attractive that it automatically gives us an impetus to study repeatedly. And the more we study the pastimes of the Lord, the more we become attached to him. This very attachment to Krishna makes one eligible to be transferred to his abode, Golok Vrindavan. Krishna book, chapter 90.
Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, it is said that I would like to ask a question. That what is the purpose of all our activities in spiritual life? In the end, after doing everything that we are doing in spiritual life, what do we want to do?
Service to Krishna.
Such an official answer. What's in there for me? From service to Krishna.
I'll go back to Godhead.
Oh, Krishna. Develop love for Krishna. Yes. And by developing love of Krishna, what do we get?
I'm happy.
Okay. At the end, what we are looking for?
To have a relationship with him.
Yes, to have a relationship with Krishna.
To serve him eternally.
Okay.
To become happy.
Happy to become happy.
Yes, to become happy. Raso Vaisaha. In the end, we are looking for rasa. How many of us are looking for rasa, dear devotees? Yes. Rasa hi evam labdva anandi bhavati. Only after getting rasa does the jiva truly become happy. So after developing prema, after remembering Krishna at the moment of death, after getting into a relationship with Krishna, we want to enjoy. Is it true or not? Yes. That is param swartha gati. That is our destination of ultimate selfishness. Yeah, let's be honest, all relationships are based on some degree of selfishness. But therefore it is called param swartha gati. That the ultimate selfishness is that the devotee wants to relish bhakti ras along with Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada explains here that actually the more we study Bhagavan Shri Krishna's pastimes, the more we become attached to him. And this attachment makes us eligible to be transferred to Goloka Vrindavan. So dear devotees, today for some time, let us try to leave the universe which we are currently in. Let us not stay in North Carolina for some time, dear devotees. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna attaches two adjectives to North Carolina. What are the two adjectives that Krishna speaks for North Carolina? Dukhalayam and Ashachi. Yeah. North Carolina, we said, right? Huh? And when I go back to Mumbai, these two adjectives will faithfully stick along with my bag, and they will come with me to Mumbai. So we have to learn to leave this universe for some time. Once I asked my Guru Maharaj, how do I become happy? So he said, you should die for a week. Die for a week? It means, he said, you switch off your phone and don't keep contact with most people. Just inform your immediate family members that I am going somewhere for a week. Don't disturb me. And go somewhere for a week and see if the world works without you. For 1 week. See if the world is working without you. That's difficult. The world will not work without me. He asked a very difficult thing. I know the world expects me to be there, isn't it? So, Prabhu, yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Or not?
I haven't tried to die.
So he said, die for a week, and we should also, from time to time, die temporarily within this universe and enter into another universe. So, dear devotees, today a brand new universe of Krishna Katha is waiting for us. We are going to enter into the universe of a devotee poet whose name is Sri Harisuri. So, dear devotees, our particular pastime of Krishna's childhood begins when Krishna was given his eternal name by Garga Muni. That statement itself is contradictory. Krishna has an eternal name, but every time he appears, he was given his name by which Muni? Garga Muni. Garga Muni gave Krishna his eternal name. That is Bhagavan. Bhagavan has all contradictions harmonized in him. He has an eternal name, yet he receives a name from Garga Muni. And when that happened, after Krishna received his name, after some time, he and Balaram started something which is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. For the first time, Krishna and Balaram started crawling on the ground. This is described in a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami describes. The verse is in front of us. Kindly repeat after me. Kalena vrajatalpena Gokule Rama Keshavau Janubhyam Saha Panebhyam Ringamano Vijahratu Kalena Vrajata. Time had passed. How much time had passed? Alpena. Little time had passed since Krishna was given his name. Gokule. They were in which village? Gokule. Right now they had not shifted to Vrindavan. Gokule. Rama Keshava. Rama refers to Balaram. Keshava refers to Krishna. Elder brother's name comes first. Therefore Rama Keshava. They started doing something. Janubhyam. Janu refers to the thighs. Saha Panibhyam. Panibhyam refers to the palms. Ringamano. They started crawling. Ringamano has a very close equivalent in Hindi. Ringna. Ringamano. They started crawling. Vijahratu. And in this way, they started roaming everywhere in Gokula. Prabhu, here is the translation.
After a short time passed, both brothers, Ram and Krishna, began to crawl on the ground of Vraja with the strength of their hands and knees, and thus enjoy their childhood play. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-21.
Yes. Dear devotees, this is what was happening at that point of time. You might have seen Krishna crawling on the ground. Now there is a commentator who is very special because he has found out hidden reasons for everything that Krishna has been doing. And before I speak from his commentary, I would like to introduce the commentator to those of us who might be hearing of this commentator for the first time. Dear devotees, this commentator's name is Sri Harisuri. Srila Prabhupada named a disciple after him, Harisuri Prabhu. And who was Sri Harisuri? Sri Harisuri was a commentator who appeared after all the other commentators had written their commentary. Even after Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had written his commentary, this is perhaps one of the final Sanskrit commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So when all the other commentators had written their excellent commentaries, there was still one commentator remaining in the commentary tradition. His name is Sri Harisuri. He appeared in the 18th century, around 1790, on the western banks of India in Maharashtra, in a place named Nasik. How many of us have visited Nasik, dear devotees? Yes, some of us have visited. Srila Prabhupada also visited Nasik once, and Srila Prabhupada visited the same temple in Nasik where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had visited 500 years ago. And this is the same temple where Sri Harisuri wrote his commentary, dear devotees. So, since his childhood, he obtained mantras to worship the Supreme Lord. Because in those days, bhakti was not performed in big institutions. In those days, bhakti was performed mainly by informal groups of people, and people would receive mantras either from their family tradition or from a particular sampradaya. His own family was initiated in the Naradiya Kirtan Sampradaya. Which is the Naradiya Kirtan Sampradaya? It is the sampradaya started by Sri Tukaram. And Sri Harisuri, within the first 15 years of his life, he mastered Chaturdash Vidya 14 branches of Vedic knowledge. Vyakaran, grammar, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Veda, Vedanta, Itihas, Puran, Kavya, Alankar. Then 6 branches, all the 6 branches of the Vedas, etc. And in totality, he knew 14 branches of Vedic knowledge. Dear devotees, even after knowing 14 branches of Vedic knowledge, in the end, his mind. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So even after knowing 14 branches of Vedic knowledge, his mind was attracted to only one literature. And which literature was that? Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam was his favorite literature. Every day he had a very rigid sadhana. In the morning, he'll wake up at sunrise, take a bath, then chant his Gayatri, chant the entire Vishnu Sahasranam. After chanting Vishnu Sahasranam, he will chant 13 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day he will recite 13 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. After reciting 13 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he will perform Gau Seva, service to the cows for 1.5 hours. And only after that will he accept the first morsel of food for the day. This was his daily sadhana. During Chaturmas, he would increase his sadhana. During Chaturmas, he would have special seva, which is called Chaturmas Seva. In the evening, he would go to the temple at around 6 or 7 o'clock, around this time. And around 3,000 to 4,000 people would gather in the temple. There were no microphones, no nothing. He would stand in the center, around 3,000 or 4,000 people, and he would have to perform kirtan. He would recite Srimad Bhagavatam and all the various pastimes from 7 o'clock in the evening to next morning 3:30. Dear devotees, if this is done for one day, and if it is done for 4 months of Chaturmas, that is called one Chaturmas Seva. Sri Hari Suri in his life did 36 Chaturmas Sevas. 36 years he did his Chaturmas Seva. When it was not Chaturmas, his regular schedule of only eating after Vishnu Sahasranam, 13 chapters of Bhagavatam and Cow Seva. That was his schedule. He wanted to continue his sadhana for as long as possible, but he could only continue it for 12 years. Because after 12 years, one day when he was performing the last leg of his sadhana, he was performing Gau Seva. At that time, suddenly he had a tap on his back. And he says in his book that for the first time in his life, he got one darshan of Sri Krishna. So that was his achievement after immense sadhana. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami says some people attain Krishna by immense sadhana. Sadhana abhiniveshena. This is the exact term used by Rupa Goswami. Some people perform immense sadhana to receive the mercy of Krishna. So he writes in his book, Itham bhuri samarchitah sa Bhagavan. I had put immense efforts to please Bhagavan. And after putting immense efforts, I received one darshan. And as soon as he received one darshan, Krishna, the first word which Krishna spoke to him is Arbhaka. My dear child, I have accepted you in the spiritual world. This is your final life here in this world. Henceforth, no more roaming around in this world. But I have one desire. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, to which you are most attracted, I have performed many pastimes. And behind many of these pastimes, there are various hidden reasons. I will give you the seeds of those reasons within your heart. Can you do something? So, yes. Can you write a commentary to explain all the hidden reasons? Definitely, I will. Why not? I will use all my capabilities to write a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. At that time, the Supreme Lord said, Likha, please write. And he ended up writing 4,650 verses as a commentary on the first 49 chapters of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dear devotees, this is the only commentary which is in verse format. All other commentaries are paragraphs. This is the only commentary which is in verse format. His genius shines through almost all the verses, dear devotees. I have tried to interpret some of the verses here. I hope that all of you will feel delight. Bhakti Rasayanam is his commentary. He promised something in the beginning of his commentary, something that Krishna told him, that anybody who entirely reads this commentary, it is 100% guaranteed for that person that he will get rid of the disease of the heart. What is the disease of the heart? Kama, lust. He will get rid of the disease of the heart and will achieve Krishna Prem. He wrote that in the beginning of his book. His book is named Bhakti Rasayanam. We are about to enter into his universe, but I will also invite some other devotee poets. Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Kavi Karnapur is also coming. Sri Jiva Goswami will also be there. Many Acharyas will be there, dear devotees. But Sri Hari Suri is very expert in asking one question. And the question behind every pastime he asks is why. Okay. So Krishna has just performed something. What did Krishna do right now?
Calling.
And Sri Hari Suri is asking a question. What question is he asking? Why? And he answers the question by composing a verse. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam, same meter as most of the verses of the Brahma Samhita. We will sing this verse. I will chant, kindly repeat after me. Yat piditapya har har bahudur nareshay. Natvam kshamatvam avane vyajahastatosi. Dhanye tirengana mishan nijahastatosyah. Protsahanam yakrita bhuri saprishta bhage. Dear devotees, Krishna is saying to earth something. Is earth the wife of Krishna? Yes or no? Yes. 100%. Krishna is saying something to his own wife. Because previously when he appeared as Varahadev, he lifted the earth and thereby he accepted the earth as his own wife. So Krishna is saying something to the earth and Krishna is saying, Yat pidita api ahar ahar. Does anybody know what is the meaning of pidita? Suffering. Oh earth, you were suffering. Were you suffering for one day or repeatedly? Ahar ahar, you were suffering repeatedly. Why were you suffering? Bahudur nareshai, because of many ruffian kings. Is it true or not? Yes. Before Krishna arrived, there were many ruffian kings who were causing the earth to suffer. Oh earth, you were suffering day in and day out because of these various ruffian kings. But still, natvam kshamatvam avane, you did not give up your most important quality. What is the most important quality of earth? Kshama, forgiveness. My own wife's name is Vasumati, which is a synonym for earth. So I also say, what is the most important quality of earth? Kshama, forgive, like the earth. Of course, she forgives. Natvam kshamatvam. But you do not give up, you did not give up your most important quality, that is kshama. Actually, kshama, forgiveness, is such an important quality of the earth that kshama has now become the very name of earth. Actually, one of the names of the earth is also kshama. You did not give up your quality of being kshama. You did not give up your name kshama. Vyajahas tatosi dhanyeti. Therefore, you are glorious, O earth. Ringana mishan. On the pretext of crawling, Krishna did something. Nijahastatosyah. Krishna used his own hands for the first time, touched the earth for the first time, and as if patted the back of the earth and said, do not worry, I am here now. There is absolutely no reason to worry. I will protect you now henceforth.
Very good.
Hare Krishna. Good reason? Do you want to hear another reason, dear devotees? He has many reasons hidden in his. Dear devotees, this is another reason. Adavurvamsha yogena tato bahuja yogataha Vihareyam iti gyaptyai sajanu kararingana. Krishna is saying something, dear devotees, please note carefully. Adav. Adi means in the beginning. Uru amsha yogena. I will first touch my knees. Okay. When you crawl, what do you usually first touch on the ground? The knees. Tato. Thereafter, bahuja yogataha. Then I will touch my palms. Vihareyam. In this way, I will travel everywhere. Iti gyaptyai. In order to show this, Sa Janu Kara Ringanaha. The Lord first touched his thighs, then the Lord touched his hands. Good verse. Yes.
Yes, sir.
I will first touch my thighs, my knees, then I will touch my hands. And in this way, I will roam everywhere. In order to show this, he started crawling. Nice verse. But no magic. How can it be Harishri if there is no magic, dear devotees? There is a hidden reason, dear devotees. Would you like to know the hidden reason? Brahmanosya mukhamasit. The Shastras say Brahmanas were born from the Lord's mouth. Bahu rajanyah smritaha. The Kshatriyas were born from the Lord's arms. Uru tadasya yad vaishya. The Vaishyas were born from the Lord's thighs. Adav uruamsha yogena. First, I will touch my thighs. First, I will take birth in a Vaishya family and protect you. And if that is not enough, I will later accept that I am the son of Devaki and Vasudev and also protect you as a Kshatriya. Oh Earth, in this way, I will offer you double protection in this particular incarnation. In order to convince Earth of this, Krishna first touch his eyes and then touch his hands. Dear devotees, Krishna was always in this way performing his various pastimes. Especially, Krishna loved the pastime of giving trouble to his mother. How many children, how many mothers here have experienced? We have, a recent entry into. So, how many mothers here have experienced that, children just give trouble without any reason? Everything is going good. We think we will have a good night's rest.
Yeah.
And suddenly, midnight. How many mothers here have gone through that difficulty? Yes. I'm saying this because a commentator will come later, Srila Jiva Goswami. He is going to make a comment about motherhood later in the same presentation. So sometimes Krishna would wake up in the night and Krishna would start crying out loudly. Sri Kavi Karnapur describes the entire situation. Mother Yashoda would be sleeping. Suddenly she wakes up. All the other gopis will also come. And then they all will say something to Krishna. And here is what they would say. This verse is from the Ananda Vrindavan Champu. This verse is in the meter Shardula Vikriditam. Same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. I'll try to sing. Kindly repeat after me. Kim kshiram na kim uttamam dadinanu kim kurchika vanana. Kim kshiram na kim uttamam dadinanu kim kurchika vanana. Miksha kinnara kinta vipsitamaho hayanga viram ganam. Miksha kinnara kinta vipsitamaho. Dasyamo na vishida vatsana taram gopyasva matre griho. Dasyamo na vishida vatsana taram gopyasva matre griho. Panneno ruchirityudangulidala shitam shumalokaya. Panneno Dear devotees, on the canvas of our hearts, we have to draw a painting of Krishna crying at night. Can you see within your hearts Krishna crying at night? Yes?
You can try.
Yes, please try. It is very important to try. Better to have loved and lost rather than never have loved at all. So, Krishna is crying in the night. Mother Yashoda, all the other gopis come and say, Kim Kshiram, what do you want, Krishna? Do you want little milk? What is Krishna's reply? Na. Kim Uttamam Dadhi. What is the meaning of Uttamam Dadhi? Best of yogurt. Na no. Kim Kurchikava. Do you want a little, milk fat? What they call malai?
Malai.
Na na. Absolutely no. Amiksha Kim. Do you want some buttermilk or some other preparation of milk? Na na. Kim Tavepsitamaho. Then what do you want? At night, 12 o'clock, what do you want? Hayang Gavinam Ghanam. Ghanam, I want a big ball of butter. Can you give me? Sure, why not? Dasyamo na Vishida. Don't cry. We will give Dasyamo. Nataram Vatsa. Oh dear child, please do not cry. Kupyasva, don't become angry. So then Krishna says, Matre griho panne no ruchira. I have absolutely no taste in any butter that is produced at my mother's home. Many children have the same complaint. I have absolutely no taste in anything that is cooked by my mother. Acha, you don't like what is cooked by Mother Yashoda? Then from whose home do you want the big ball of butter? Udanguli dala. And smartly he pointed his finger upwards. Can you see that ball of butter in the sky? Sheetam Shumalu Kayat. He pointed at the Sheet Amshu nectar red moon. Now, traditionally, there is a culture of sometimes trying to trick children. Sometimes parents in earlier days would try to trick children. Nowadays, the schools teach that we should tell the absolute truth to children at all the times. Because they should not learn, something which is incorrect in their childhood. Otherwise, it may affect their adolescent years. But this is not the case with Krishna Leela. Mother Yashoda often plays some tricks with Krishna. And like sometimes Krishna would not want to wake up early in the morning, for example. So Mother Yashoda, often in order to make Krishna wake up and take a bath, she would often tell a lie to Krishna. See, there is one person in the spiritual world who doesn't attend Mangal Aarti. Who is that person? That one person doesn't attend Mangal Aarti. Everybody else attends, but he wakes up only after sunrise. He is born in Chandravamsh, the moon dynasty, but he waits for the sun to rise before he wakes up. So sometimes he wouldn't wake up. In the Gopal Champu Srila Jiva Goswami describes that sometimes Mother Yashoda would say, Krishna, wake up. Don't you know what day today is? It's your birthday. Many gifts are waiting for you. If you wake up, take a bath, then you will have many gifts. But no touching of gifts without taking baths. Chalo. Krishna, really? My birthday? Sure, why not? Then Krishna enters the bathroom. And when he's taking bath, he goes, wait a minute. Wasn't my birthday a few days ago? Oh no, I have been tricked again. But by that time, it's too late. The first few mugs of water have already been poured. So in this way, Mother Yashoda would trick Krishna. It is good to sometimes trick children because otherwise children don't listen. So Mother Yashoda tried to trick Krishna. And Sri Kavi Karnapur composes the next verse explaining how Mother Yashoda tried to trick Krishna. Dear devotees, this verse is in a meter Malini, same meter as Govardhana Vasa Prarthana Dashakam of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Kalayana Pitareta Dhanta Hayanga Vinam pratarati kalahamso vyomaviti tadagam ahamapi kalahamsam prarthaye khelanarthi tadupanayata yavan naishaparam prayati. So Mother Yashoda is saying, and this is something which is better translated in Hindi. So I'll first translate in Hindi. She's saying, Pitar, because he's asking for a big ball of butter in the sky at night, midnight. Pitar, she's saying, Are mere baap. How do you translate Are mere baap?
My father.
It's difficult to translate. Huh? So it has a slang touch to it. Pitar, Kavi Karnapur, Pitar, mere baap, my father. Please try to understand. Kalayana, na etad hanta hayyanga vinam. This is not a big ball of butter. Acha, acha, if it is not big ball of butter, what is it? Just see, pratarati kalahamso. Can't you see? It is a royal swan. It is swimming vyomaviti tadagam across the river of the sky. Can't you see? Oh, acha. Ahamapi kalahamsam. I also want kalahamsam. Prarthaye khelanarthi. Nanda Maharaj never got me a pet. Tadupanayata yavan. Quickly bring it. Because I see it is traveling in this direction. It should not reach the other shore of the river. Please bring it quickly. So she thought that she will trick Krishna. But Krishna ended up, tricking her. Kavi Karnapur then continues. Mother Yashoda then told him the absolute truth. With small lies. This verse is in the meter Vasant Tilakam. Same meter as most of the verses in the Brahma Samhita. Hayyangavina midameva naraja hamsa. Piyusharashmirapinaishana tat pradeyam. Pashyatradaiva vashato garalam vilagnam. Tenai taduttamamapiha na kopi bhunkte. Krishna, now I am telling you the truth. Hayyangam idam evana raja hamsa. This is neither a big ball of butter, nor is this a royal swan. Acha, then what is it? Piyusha Rashmir. It is nectar red moon. If it is the nectar red, I want to drink nectar. Someday, why don't you get me? Naishana tat pradeyam, but we can't give you. Why? Pasha. Just see. Atra daiva vashato. Because of some misfortune. Garalam vilagnam. Can't you see some spots there? Actually, poison has spilled on the moon. Tena etad uttamam apiha. Therefore, although it is the topmost, but na kopi bhunkte, nobody consumes this moon. Acha, acha. If poison has spilled on the moon, can you tell me how poison spilled on the moon? So, Krishna, listen to a story. Oh, very nice. Yes, please tell me a story. Long ago, once upon a time, there was a big ocean of milk. Acha, big ocean of milk? How many cows were required to produce that? Oh, no, Krishna. This ocean was not produced using cows. Then who produced this ocean? This ocean was made by Bhagavan. Acha. Who is Bhagavan? Don't you see every morning Nanda Maharaj is worshipping four hands? That Vishnu is Bhagavan. Acha. Why can't I see Vishnu everywhere? So then Mother Yashoda gave an answer. in which she indirectly said something very deep. Krishna is asking, why can't I see Bhagavan everywhere? So this is her answer. And please repeat after me. Mother Yashoda said, because Bhagavan is Aga. Aga means na gachati. He never goes anywhere. Therefore, he is known as Aga. He never goes anywhere, never leaves his Milk Ocean residence. So he can't be seen here. This was the literal meaning, hidden meaning Kavi Karnapur has embedded. Please repeat once again. Because Bhagavan is Aga. Aga means the without the syllable Ga. If you remove the syllable Ga from Bhagavan, what remains, Prabhu?
Bhavan.
Bhavan. And what does Bhavan mean in Sanskrit?
You.
Oh.
So she ended up saying, Bhavan eva Bhagavan. You are Bhagavan. Inadvertently, without realizing, Mother Yashoda ended up saying Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So that is the hidden secret. See, Anand Vrindavan Champu, you can have a literal translation, but there are many hidden meanings which are only brought out in the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written a commentary on Anand Vrindavan Champu. So by following that commentary, we can know the hidden meanings of the Ananda Vrindavan Champu.
Can you repeat that again?
Because Bhagavan is Aga? Yes.
No, but how did it become?
Okay. Krishna had asked, why can't we see Bhagavan everywhere? Mother Yashoda said, because Bhagavan is Aga. Aga literally means na gachati. He never goes anywhere. But A means without. Ga means the syllable Ga. So if from Bhagavan the syllable Ga is removed, what remains is Bhavan. You, basically. So these secrets are all brought out by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary. And this commentary is called Sukhavartani. So with the help of his commentary, I was able to speak this secret that Sri Kavi Karnapur has hidden in his Ananda Vrindavan Champu. So dear devotees, then Krishna asked, okay, then what happened? Then said there was a big Mandara mountain. This mountain became the churning rod. Vasuki became the churning rope. And then there was Kurmadev who was acting as the stable platform. And then the demons and the demigods, they started churning. And first came the poison, halahal. And then came the moon. And then Lord Shiva started drinking the poison. And you know, Krishna, what happens when even you are drinking something, you know, something spills. So Krishna, something spilled and those drops fell on the moon. And therefore, this moon is not fit for consumption. Do you get it, Krishna? No response. Because our Krishna has entered into another world now. Krishna went into his dream world. After giving trouble for a good half an hour, Krishna went to the dream world, dear devotees. So in this way, every day, without any purpose, giving some trouble to the parents. This is the primary dharma of all the kids who are growing up. I am speaking from experience. So when Krishna grew up and Balram also grew up, their bodily strength increased, they could stand up. And when they could stand up, they could run around. When they could run around, the troubles of the parents increased. And they increased so much that you don't need a commentator to highlight that. Shukdev Goswami himself will highlight the troubles in the Srimad Bhagavatam, dear devotees. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami speaks about the various troubles created by Krishna and Balaram in Gokula. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam. This is from Bhagavatam 10th canto, 8th chapter, verse 25. I'll try to sing it. Please repeat after me. First line is a little tongue twister. Shringyagnitam Shrasi Jaladvijakantакebhya Krida Paravati Chalau Sasutau Nishedum Greyani kartum api yatra nata jananyau. Shekat apaturalam manasunavastham. Shukdev Goswami lists all the sources of troubles that Krishna and Balaram were getting into. Shringi, animals with horns. Dear devotees, sometimes they will get into Nanda Maharaj's cowshed. There are bulls and cows with horns, and Krishna and Balaram will catch those horns and try to steer them around. Agni, sometimes Krishna will see a flame of fire, and then Krishna will say, wow, what is this? Let me try to catch, try to catch a flame of fire. Damshri. Damshri means animals with sharp teeth. Sometimes Krishna will catch a monkey and ask him to open his mouth. And like an expert dentist, he will count all the teeth within the mouth of the monkey. Asi. Asi means sword. Sometimes Nanda Maharaj would forget to lock his cupboard. And within the cupboard of Nanda Maharaj were swords for protecting from wild animals. So if Nanda Maharaj someday forgets to lock his cupboard, Krishna and Balaram will go pick one sword each. Then there will be Mahabharata. Even before Mahabharata, between Krishna and Balaram. Jala. Then there will be a water tank outside Nanda Maharaj's home. Then both of them will jump into the water tank and then loudly cry out, help! We are drowning here. So always deliberately putting in anxiety. Dvija means words. Sometimes they will see a peacock and Krishna will suddenly come from behind and catch hold of the peacock. Peacock becomes alarmed. Peacock starts to fly. Krishna enjoys his limited flight. Kantakebhya. And sometimes there are thorns. So Krishna puts his hand sometimes in the thorns to see, can I find something inside here? So in this way, Krida Parao, they're always playing. Ati Chalav, very fickle-minded. Swasutau Nishedhum, in order to prevent both their sons from all these activities. Something happened in Nanda Maharaj's home. What happened? Grihiyani kartum api yatra na tajjananyo. Both mothers could not carry out their household activities. There's not one mother, there are two mothers. Both of them got so busy in preventing Krishna and Balaram that all the household activities got neglected. You can make out in a home when there is a child present. Yes?
Yes.
How can you make out? Yes. Just by looking at the home. First symptom, the home is child-proofed. So you won't find any glass, valuable articles on the table. And second thing, even after it is child-proofed, it will always be in a state of mess, dear devotees. Shekat, they could not, do their household duties. So, apatur alam manaso anavastham. They attained anavastha of mana. Their minds became anavastha. Ajay Govind Prabhu, what is avastha?
State situation.
And anavastha? Disturbed.
Disturbed.
See, this is the literal translation. Manaso anavastha. They could not, settle their minds. This is what Shukdev Goswami said. Now see the translation, Prabhu. The translation is trying to sugarcoat it in such a nice way. Let's try to see the translation, Prabhu. Please read, Prabhu.
When Mother Yashoda and Rohini were unable to protect the babies from the calamities threatened by horned cows, by fire, by animals with teeth, by swords, by water, by birds, and by thorns, they were always in anxiety.
They were always in
anxiety.
Okay. Let's note this point. Okay?
And their household engagements were disturbed. At that time, they were fully equipoised.
Wait. They were fully
equipoised.
How can a person in anxiety be equipoised? When I read this translation, I said, show me one person in the world who is equipoised in anxiety. Anybody here learned the art of being equipoised in anxiety? Okay, Prabhu. This is not the only contradiction in the translation. Yes, Prabhu.
They were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy known as the distress of maternal affection.
Wait. Let's try to digest that. Transcendental ecstasy known as distress. Ecstasy known as distress. How do you call ecstasy as distress, Prabhu? Is it possible? the transcendental ecstasy of the distress of maternal affection. Is it there in the Sanskrit somewhere? The Sanskrit only says manaso anavastham. Their minds were completely turned around, disturbed. See how the translators are trying to transcendentalize the situation. And it is good because after all, it is bhakti ras. We understand it is bhakti ras. But when I read the translation, I found it very amusing that a situation which could be literally expressed in words, that they were disturbed in their mind. But in order to explain to the devotees that this is not material distress, a lot of what we call ulta pranayam has to be done like this. I hope you are able to understand. Pranayam is usually done like this. But in order to explain a difficult thing to newcomers, you have to do ulta pranayam like this. They were distressed, but they were in ecstasy. They were equipoised, but they were not equipoised. This is what the translation is basically. Please read.
Transcendental ecstasy known as distress of maternal affection, for this was aroused within their minds. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-25.
Okay. Srila Jiva Goswami, first and foremost, we can see here. So, Srila Jiva Goswami makes a comment here. Please hear Srila Jiva Goswami's comment. Srila Jiva Goswami says, Griha Saukyasya Parakashtam Darshayati. This is the highest happiness of householder life. I said to Srila Jiva Goswami, with folded hands, when I went to Radha Damodar temple, with folded hands, I say something. You are very respected, most respected commentator of our Sampradaya. You are backbone of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And I have complete respect unto your lotus feet. On this point, maybe, can we take a second opinion from the householders? Because I think it is important to ask the householders if this is the highest happiness of householder life. How many householders went through the highest happiness of householder life? Nice experience.
Yes.
We want to have it again and again and again. How many want to have the same highest happiness again and again? No takers for the highest. Nobody. So, dear devotees, we understand why Srila Jiva Goswami is saying that. Because in those days, in order to raise a child, an entire village would be there. So an entire village was there to raise a child. And it would be so easy. See, I used to visit my village in my childhood for at least 2 to 3 months in a year. And then my mother would have no anxiety where I am, because I would usually be taken care of by many people in the family. But when I used to stay alone with my parents in a city, then my mother was always in anxiety for me, because what is he doing? Is he eating nicely or not eating nicely? In the village, she has no headache. There are 12 children to play and 10 homes to go to. So he must be in some home playing with somebody. That's it. You can enter anybody's home. You can sit down and you can eat with them. That is a village. Not like a city, where the most miserly people stay in the city. Actually, the most miserly people stay in the cities. They never open their doors. And nowadays, you have to take an appointment to visit them. Is it true or not? Yes. They are not atithis. You can't just arrive as atithi. In the US, I experienced a few days ago, my son was playing with a small ball, and it ended up in somebody's garden. So we rang the doorbell, nobody opened. So we thought, let's pick it up from the garden. So we went into the garden to pick it up, and then came the homeowner. So I barely escaped with a warning. Don't come here next time. In my mind, I said, there is a special hell reserved for such people in Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't welcome guests. But this is how miserly we city people, including myself. I also stay in the city. This is how miserly we city people are. So we should learn something from the villagers. They're very simple-hearted people. Their doors are always open. Can you see in the painting the doors? In any painting of Gokula, you will never see the doors closed. The doors are opened always. That is a village home. It is always open for you. It is always open for you. So we should have that. Especially we should try to create some villages in our societies where the doors are always open. If we can do that, it is one of the success of our society. Dear devotees. So, anyways, our commentator is rubbing his hands to ask the most important question. What is the most important question? Why is Krishna giving so much trouble to Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini? And the answer is very simple, dear devotees. The commentator says, just read the first line again of the verse. Please repeat after me. Shringyagnidam strasi jaladvijakantake. Sri Harisuri says, Krishna is simply practicing for his future. Shringi, in the future, he has to defeat a horned animal, Arishtasur. So he's practicing in his childhood. Agni, in the future, he has to swallow the forest fire. Damshri, in future, he has to fight animals with sharp teeth, such as Aghasur. So he's practicing in his childhood. Asi, swords. In future, he has to fight 17 times with Jarasandha. For that, he's practicing swords. Jala, water. In future, he has to do something in water. What does he have to do? Kali, Dvija, in future, he has to kill a bird. Which bird? Bakasur. Kantakebhya, and in the future, he has to remove all the thorn-like things from the surface of the earth. Dear devotees, for this reason, Krishna is already practicing in his childhood. So, dear devotees, a very transcendental reason. It is not possible by human imagination to come up with this. Obviously, the poet has been gifted with realizations by Krishna himself. Dear devotees, further ahead, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, we will continue what happened. Ajay Govind Prabhu, who is your worshipable Supreme Lord?
Now, Krishna.
Shri Krishna. Are you sure?
From my side, yes.
He said yes. Okay. Everybody heard. He said yes. His character will now be exposed. Do you have the strength to tolerate allegations against your worshipable Supreme Lord?
I think Harishwari will help me out to do that.
Prabhu, please read the pristine character of your worshipable Supreme Lord.
Observing the very attractive childish restlessness of Krishna, all the gopis in the neighborhood to hear about Krishna's activities again and again would approach Mother Yashoda and speak to her as follows. Our dear friend Yashoda, your son sometimes comes to our house before the milking of the cows and release the calves. And when the master of the house becomes angry, your son merely smiles.
Okay. Sometimes your son comes to our houses before the milking of the cows and releases the calves. You know, there are two after effects if the calves are released. What is the first after effect? The milk is gone. The calves drink all the milk. What is the second after effect? The calves get sick. They drink too much. So they are not prevented in time. So they get sick. And when the master of the house becomes angry because of this, your son merely smiles. My mother had a phrase for me in my childhood. When sometimes she would ask me not to do something, and I would still do it. And then she would ask me again with a stick not to do it. And then I would again do it. And then she would say, Nirlajja sada sukhi. A shameless person is always happy. Is it true or not? Yes. 100%. A shameless person is always happy. So my mother used to say that because you are shameless, you are happy. So I took the opposite. If I want to remain happy, I have to become
Shameless.
Yes. So I took lessons from that. If you want to become happy, always remain shameless, dear devotees. This is what Krishna is. Evam parampara praptam. He received in parampara. Prabhu, please read ahead.
Sometimes he devises some process by which he steals palatable curd, butter and milk, which he then eats and drinks. When the monkeys assemble, he divides it with them. And when the monkeys have their bellies so full that they won't take more, he breaks the pot. Sometimes, if he gets no opportunity to steal butter or milk from the house, he will be angry at the householder, and for his revenge, he will agitate the small children by pinching them. Then, when the children begin cry, Krishna will go away. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 8, 28, 29.
Prabhu, you are worshipping this person? How many years?
At least for 10 years, 11 years now, Prabhu, for sure.
Who brainwashed you?
My Prabhupada.
Because Hare Krishna is a very smart people. They do this book distribution, hoping that you will never read the books. You just read it. When you actually read the books, you find out the true character of the person you are worshipping. Prabhu, just few days ago was Ram Navami. There is still time, you know. Switch to the saintly option, Prabhu. Do you want to still worship this person?
Yes.
Just see the level of brainwashing. The Hare Krishna. The person happily agrees that I will worship a person with such character. If this is not brainwashing, then what is brainwashing to you? Huh? So, dear devotees, a serious allegation has been leveled upon Krishna. What is the allegation? Shamelessness, stealing. Most important allegation is stealing. Has Krishna stolen? Yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Throughout his life, all his life. No.
Yes. How many people wish to defend Krishna and say no? Please raise your hands. Wow, so many people to defend Krishna.
Brainwashed.
I thought you were brainwashed. Let's hear a reason.
Everything's his.
Oh. Everything belongs to him. Let's go and speak this reason in front of the gopis who are complaining. Mother Yashoda says, my Krishna didn't steal. Why? Because everything belongs to him. How many gopis will accept your reason? Those are the sorts of reasons which Uddhav came with before he had to relearn everything. We need a sweet reason. We need a person who will flip everyone's opinion. Most of the people agreed that Krishna has stolen. Very few people raised their hands. Majority still agree. We have to flip everybody's reason and make everybody agree that Krishna did not steal. Are you ready to hear the argument?
Yes.
Dear devotees, our commentator is going to present only one argument. And in that one argument, he will flip everybody's reasoning and everybody will come on this side that Krishna did not steal. So this is the allegation, dear devotees. And Krishna himself gave a seed of argumentation in the heart of the commentator. Please defend me using this argument. Okay? Would you like to hear that argument? This verse is in the meter Shardula Vikreditam, same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Can we try to sing together this time? Yes? Let's try to sing together. Tattat Sundara Mandira Sritapayo Tatyadi Chauryarite Tattat Mandira Balakay Virashita Patachariyataka Vrittir nahi samsprishet vidya Srinayako Leelaya Balaneva Sahaya Brajagriham Praya Prahusatrite Tat Tat Sundara Mandira. In Gokula, Tat, there were all these Sundara Mandira, beautiful homes. Yes or no? Yes. Sthita, inside those homes, something was kept. What was kept? Payaha, milk, dadhi, yogurt, adi, etc. And the allegation is Chaurya Hritis, Chauri. What is the allegation? That he has stolen. Krishna in the third line is saying, Vrittir mam nahi samsprishet. This allegation should not touch me at any point of time. Iti dhiya. Keeping this in mind, Shri Nayakaha, our Lord of Srimati Radharani, Leelaya, in his pastimes, he has done something. Dear devotees, what has he done? In the second line, the secret is revealed. Tattan mandira balakair virachita. When he will go to any home, he made sure that the boy of the home was also with him. Prabhuji, Ajay Gon Prabhu.
Good brainwashing.
If something is stolen from your home, and if it is found out that Ujjwal Rasayan Prabhu was also involved in it, something is stolen from the fridge without, and Ujjwal Rasayan Prabhu was also involved. So Prabhu, will you complain or will you not complain?
It always happens. There's no point. It always happens.
Now, how many will say that Krishna has stolen you? You see, a single verse, he has brought everyone to his side. So, dear devotees, Krishna was only saying, I am merely an assistant. The boy was actually taking from his own boy. I was merely assisting that boy. Can't you see? I am assisting that boy. That boy is taking in his own hands. So that is the boy of the home who is receiving his own home products. And I am a mere assistant of that particular boy, dear devotees. Dear devotees, Sri Hari Suri has given a very important, a second reason why Krishna would take all the boys along with him. Please repeat after me. Kevalagah kevaladi. Bhavati shrutim smaran. Yuktam evaghartasau. Tatvanyebhyo jaghasatat. So Sri Hari Suri is expecting here that, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, one question he is asking, has Krishna created all the Vedas? Yes or no? Yes. Should Krishna follow his own rules in the Vedas? No? Then how can he be Acharya if he doesn't follow? Of course he should follow. Ideally, is he expected to follow? Yes. And Krishna always followed this rule, one rule given in the Vedas. And he is quoting directly from the Vedas, Keval Agho, Keval Adi. The Rig Veda says, please repeat after me, Kevalagho, Bhavati, Kevaladi, Kevaladi, a person who eats alone, eats only sin, dear devotees. Will Krishna follow his own, break his own rule and eat alone, or will Krishna distribute amongst many people? Dear devotees, Krishna never ate alone. If you see in all the pastimes of Krishna, Krishna never ate alone. There is a rule in the Vedas, a householder especially should never eat alone. Nowadays, we have a very difficult situation because we have what is known as takeaway boxes, where you not only take away food, but you also take away a lot of sin because you are going to eat alone, dear devotees. Why? Because a person who eats alone eats only sin. Before eating, Srila Prabhupada always told us that a householder should keep a share aside for other living entities to eat. Many of us in our childhood might have seen our ancestors before eating, they will take one morsel out and keep aside. How many of us have seen that in our childhood? Why? Are all Indian people? Why? For crows, for dogs, for cows. If you ask them, why are you doing this? Well, my father told. And his father told. And ultimately, whose father told?
Supreme Father told.
Kevaladho bhavati kevaladi. A person who eats alone eats only sin. Therefore, when we are eating, we should always ensure that before we eat, we should ensure that at least our family members should be there on the table. If that is not possible, in our minds, we should offer it, the prasad, first to all the living entities. Before I eat, let other living entities also be satisfied with this Shri Krishna prasad. Okay, so this very important lesson Krishna taught, that we should never eat alone. Dear devotees, Krishna also distributed butter amongst the monkeys. Allegation has been leveled, and this reason is very famous why Krishna distributed amongst the monkeys. Does anybody know why? Lord Ramachandra. But who wrote the realization for the first time? Sri Hari. So this was the realization. Please repeat after me. Vanyairev phalair swayatna kalitair akalpya vrittim nijam. Vanyairev phalair swayatna kalitair akalpya vrittim nijam. Seva me vanvasino pivihita pragi bhiravyajata. Seva me vanvasino pivihita pragi bhiravyajata. Seva me, they have rendered previously what? Seva. When I was Vanavasi, when I was a forest resident. Yes or no?
Yes.
When I was a resident of the forest, these monkeys rendered service to me. Today, these monkeys are resident of the forest. Should I not pay them back? 100%. So Krishna gave them Sara. What did Krishna give them?
Sense.
Sara, essence. What is the essence of yogurt? And what is the essence of all spiritual life? Krishna Prem, dear devotees. So Krishna fed them Sara. Krishna, by feeding them butter, Krishna fed them Sara, the essence of all spiritual life, which is Krishna Prema. Dear devotees, can you see Krishna there? Prabhu, you are worshipable Lord. Can you see his condition?
Yes.
You still want to worship him?
Yes.
Dhanya Prabhu. Sri Hari Suri says, look at the Supreme Lord and what he has been reduced to in Gokula. What has the Supreme Lord been reduced to in Gokula? A good verse. We can sing this verse together. Same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Let's sing together, dear devotees. Asidyasya padambu shankara shiro vandyam chavaksho rama priyam rupam rishindra sevyam avana bhamnayakam yaschaya Sashriman Vrajaballavi Viravito Nito Pamanam Yato Mukhyanagar Hetaveti Sahava Sayastu Tasmai Nama. Asidyasya Padambu, the waters which have touched his feet. What are they known as in this world today? Ganga. Those waters are Shankara Shiro Vandyam. They are worshipable by Lord Shiva. He keeps them on his head. Vaksho Rama, on his chest is Lakshmi Devi herself. Does he need to steal anywhere? Spriyam Rupam Rishindra Sevyam. The topmost sages pray for his form. Avana Amnaya Gamyaschayah. And he is only understood by studying the Vedas. Sir Shriman, look at that Shriman here in Gokul. What has happened? Brajavallavi Bhir Abhito. By all the gopis, Nito Apamanam. He is facing Apaman today. What is the meaning of Apaman?
Insult.
Insult. He is facing insult in each and every corner of Gokul today. Sri Hari Suri says, therefore, dear devotees, Mukhya Anadara Hetave. What is the main cause of this insult? He says, Ati Havas. Too much familiarity and staying together. And then he says, Astu tasmai namaha. But this extreme familiarity, I pay my obeisances to. I wish for this extreme familiarity in my next life. Anywhere else, I do not want extreme familiarity. But this extreme familiarity that the gopis had with Sri Krishna, I pray for this extreme familiarity in my next life. Tasmai namaha. So, anywhere extreme familiarity, not desired. Atiparichayad avagya. Santata gamanad anadaro bhavati. Malaye villa purandri chandana tarukashtam indhanam kurute. Atiparichayad avagya. By too much familiarity, you disregard something. One good example. Malaye. There is a lady who is born in Malaya Hills. She's born there. Malaya Hills is famous for which tree? She is raised in that hill. She never went outside. So for her daily cooking, she uses which tree? This familiarity in the material world is not desirable. But that familiarity, he says, Tasmai Namaha, my obeisances. I keep this familiarity on my head. I pray that this familiarity also comes to me. Raganuga Bhakti, dear devotees, this is Raganuga Bhajan. He's praying for Raganuga Bhajan in this particular verse. Now, Prabhu, some more politics from the spiritual world. Ekada Kridamanaste Namadya Gopadarika Krishnamridam Bhakshitavan Iti Matrenya Vedayan. Prabhu, can you please read the translation?
Translation. One day, while Krishna was playing with his small playmates, including Balram and other sons of Gopas, all his friends came together and logged a complaint to Mother Yashoda. Mother, they submitted, Krishna has eaten earth. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-32.
Prabhu, does Krishna have good friends? He has good friends?
Yes.
What's a good friend, Prabhu? A good friend is a person who stays with us in all conditions of life. When Krishna was stealing, when all these boys were stealing, did Krishna ever complain to them that these boys are stealing with me? Now, Krishna has eaten dirt. All boys turned against Krishna. Does Krishna have good friends? Doesn't seem like. But our commentator is here and he is willing to specify a reason why Krishna has eaten dirt. Can anybody say why Krishna has eaten dirt? Anybody please tell me. By the way, this is the only thing he ate alone. Dear devotees. This is the only thing he ate alone.
We all eat afterwards.
Huh?
When we go there, we all eat.
See the prime example set by the Acharya. Anywhere else, if you eat dirt, the parents will say don't eat dirt. But in Vrindavan, because this person has set a wrong example 5,000 years ago, so everybody follows in his incorrect example and eats dirt. In English, there is a phrase, he ate dirt. I hope you know what it means. Mitti khaya. Which means he did something not worthy of doing. But still, now, whatever he does, it is praised in the three worlds. So what to do? Eat dirt. So, why did Krishna eat dirt, dear devotees? Any reason? To show his opulence. Very nice. To reciprocate with Mother Earth. Very nice. Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Very nice. To reciprocate with Mother Earth. Would you like to hear a transcendental reason, dear devotees?
Yes.
So, dear devotees, here is a transcendental reason. Mahi surebhyo nikhiladhara pura. Maya pitaya kila renuka bhuva. Samarpaniya yadunapi samshata. Tviti dvijebhyo dishadam shatah satam. Krishna is thinking, Mahi Surebhyo. The word Sura means God. There are Suras, gods in heaven. But there are Mahi Suras, gods on earth. Who are known as gods on earth? Brahmanas. Why? Because Brahmanas speak the same language as is spoken in the heavenly planets. So Brahmanas are sometimes known as Mahi Suras, gods on earth. Mahi Surebhyo. Unto the Brahmanas, Nikhila Dharapura. I have gifted the entire earth previously. In a previous incarnation, I gifted the entire earth to the Brahmanas. In which incarnation did I give the entire earth to the Dvijas? Parshuram. I slaughtered the Kshatriyas not once, not twice. How many times? And whatever earth was recovered from these Kshatriyas, I gifted it to the Dvijas. Right? I gifted it to the Dvijas. Samarpaniya hi adhunapi. In this incarnation also, I should gift a little earth to the Dvijas. So I took a little earth and gifted it to the Dvijas. Because teeth take birth how many times? Twice. Dear devotees, I took a little earth and gifted it to the Dvijas, even in this incarnation. Devotees. Who can think of such reasons? This person was reading 13 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So within a month or two, he will complete one reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he doesn't need to read a translation. Just the original verses. He knows, he has read Sridhar Swami's commentary. He knows what is the meaning of all the verses. So dear devotees, even after all that, these reasons were specified directly by Krishna within the heart of the commentator. Would you like to hear another transcendental reason, dear devotees? So he says, okay. But first and foremost, before we read that reason, Prabhu, some more glories of your worshipable Lord.
Upon hearing this form, Krishna's playmates, Mother Yashoda, who was always full of anxiety over Krishna's welfare, picked Krishna up with her hands to look into his mouth and chastise him. Her eyes fearful, she spoke to her son as follows. Dear Krishna, why are you so restless that you have eaten dirt in a solitary place? This complaint has been lodged against you by all your playmates, including your elder brother Balram. Who is this? How is this? Lord Shri Krishna replied, my dear mother, I have never eaten dirt. All my friends complaining against me are liars.
Wow.
If you think they are being truthful, you can directly look into my mouth and examine it. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8:33-35.
All my friends are liars. Said the most truthful person ever. Your worshipable Lord. Says all his friends are liars. Does Krishna have good friends? So at this point of time, Sri Hari Suri says, here another reason. See what Mother Yashoda saw. Yes. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam, same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Let's sing together. Yat spriyam tridashairalabhyavasatam eyam chayat yogina praptam syati mutadrajo brajagatam gopika patakam ekam duri nijodatasya janasa pancham chiram chintaya manye purnadaya kimakaro takshanam takrite. Yat spriyam, he doesn't reveal what it is. He's glorifying an entity. Yat spriyam tridashair. This entity is desired even by the Tridashas, by the demigods. Alabhyam, but it is not available to them. It is not available, especially to asatam, to the demons. This entity is such that dhyayam chayat yoginam. The yogis meditate upon this entity. He is maintaining a secret, dear devotees. Praptam syat kimu. All the devotees in all the 14 planetary systems are thinking, will we get access to this entity? What are they praying for? Rajo Brajagatam, the dust of Shri Vrindavan. Gopika Padagam, because they contain the footprints of cows and gopis. Krishna then thought all the planetary systems are within my stomach. So I will take this and I will eat dirt. So there will be doorstep dust delivery for all the 14 planetary systems in my body. So, doorstep dust delivery before Amazon Prime delivery. Dear devotees, then Mother Yashoda saw something within Krishna's mouth. Srila Jiva Goswami describes in Gopal Champu. This verse is in the meter Prithvi, very sweet meter, Prithvi. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after. There's a joy in singing verses. How many of you love to sing verses, dear devotees? So there is a joy in singing verses in different meters. This verse is in the meter Prithvi. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Aho bahirivekshate jagadidam mukhabhyantare. Aho Shishostadhanubhuriyam bhuvicha mathuram mandalam. Iha vrajakulam yadanva bimayadrito balaka. Sa eva tadaho katham kimiva hanta kim siddhyati. Very sweet meter. Where else have we heard this meter? Anarbita charinchirat karunayavatirna kalau samarpayitum unnatojvala rasam svabhakti shriyam. That verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, same meter. Sri Jiva Goswami describes when Krishna opened his mouth, Mother Yashoda. Aho! Wonderful. Bahir iva ikshate jagadidam. The same universe that I see outside. Now I am seeing mukhabhyantare, inside his mouth. Now then it zooms in. Shishos tadanubhuriyam. Now I see the earth. It further zooms in. Bhuvicha mathuram mandalam. Now I see Mathura mandal. It further zooms in. Iha vrajakulam. Now I see Gokul. It further zooms in. Maya dhrito balakaha. Now I see myself holding the child. It further zooms in again into Krishna's mouth. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? In computers, this is called as a recursive function. All IT people, you know what I am speaking about. Again into his mouth. Infinite loop. Dear devotees, aho katham kimiva hanta kim siddhi. What is happening? I have never seen this before. So, dear devotees, the first example of Google Earth mentioned in Shastra is Gopal Champu. Dear devotees. Prabhu, this is the translation.
Translation. Yashoda thought, how amazing. The same word that is visible outside is now also within the mouth of my child. Within this word, I can see Mathura Mandal, and within it, I can see Vraja. Within Vraja, I can also see myself holding the hands of my child. What on the earth is going on here? Gopal Champu, 7th Pura.
Yes. So this is Gopal Champu, dear devotees. Our Jiva Goswami was the first person to describe unlimited zoom in Google Earth, dear devotees, with recursive function embedded. So there should be a copyright claim that ideas have been stolen from Gopal Champu. So dear devotees, this is our final verse because Mother Yashoda is the most glorious parent that Krishna has ever had. Between Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, we say Mother Yashoda is more glorious. Why? Because Mata is Shatagunam. She is 100 times more worshipable than the father. So, our commentator Sri Hari Suri finally describes the glory of Mother Yashoda. This is our final verse for today, dear devotees. And we will try to sing it together and see what is so special in Mother Yashoda that no other parent of Krishna has, not even Nanda Maharaj has, dear devotees. Would you like to hear? Yes. Let's sing together, same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Yesham baladaya sukhodaya kara
तेषां न षड्गुण्यतो येषां तादृशरूपतश्च सुखदास्तेषां न बालवता सच्चिद्रूपतया च बालकतया निःसीमसौख्यप्रदा तेषामेव सुभक्तिमन्त इह ये गोपिका.
This verse is very difficult to interpret. This verse took many days to interpret because some hints were not given at all. Yesham balataya sukhodaya karas. To some devotees, Krishna gave pleasure only as a child. Which devotees he did not mention. So in previous incarnations to Dasharath, he gave pleasure only as a child. Tesham na shad gunyato. To such devotees, he did not show his shad guna, 6 opulences as Bhagwan. Did he show his 6 opulences as Bhagwan to Dasharath at any point of time? So there are some devotees to whom he gave pleasure only as a child, but never showed his 6 opulences. Next line, Yesham tadrisha rupatascha sukadas. There are certain devotees to whom he gave pleasure only through his 6 opulences as Bhagwan, such as the 4 Kumaras. Tesham na balatvatah. But to them he did not give pleasure as a child. But there is one devotee to whom Satchid Rupataya, with his 6 opulences, as well as Balakataya, as well as through his childish nature, Nisima Saukhya Pradas, if he gave unlimited joy to one devotee in this universe, dear devotees. Tesham eva subhakti manta, they are the best devotees, the best parents that Krishna has ever had. Atra udharitir, and there's only one example. Who is that? Gopika. Yashoda. Dear devotees, he simultaneously gave her pleasure as the omniscient Supreme Lord. When she was tying him up, did he agree to get tied up? But she was not unhappy. She was pleased with the effort. And finally, when she tied him up also, she was happy with his childish reactions. To Arjun also, he gave pleasure as a friend. But when he showed his universal form, did Arjun receive pleasure or Arjun became horrified? So there's only one devotee who got pleasure through both his Aishwarya as well as his Madhurya. And which devotee is that? Mother Yashoda. Yashodaya samanasti devata kapi bhutale ulu khale yaya baddho mukti do mukti michhati. There is no deity on earth equivalent to Mother Yashoda. Bound to her, bound to a mortar by her, even the great giver of liberation is praying for his own liberation today, dear devotees. So who is the greater deity? Yashoda or Krishna? Yashoda. We like to differentiate even if there is a small possibility of differentiation. That is Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Which is the greater deity? Yashoda or Krishna? Yes, that's a Raganuga Bhakta. A Raganuga Bhakta should say confidently, Yashoda is the greater devotee. 100%. Otherwise, we will remain Vaidhi Bhaktas. Oh, let's say Krishna, otherwise he'll become angry. Who cares about Krishna? Yeah. We don't care. Let him think anything. We know Mother Yashoda is the topmost devotee. Yeah, this is the translation for it.
Translation. Whom he gave pleasure as a child, he did not give pleasure through his omnipotence. And whom he gave pleasure through his omnipotence, he did not give pleasure as a child. However, among all these devotees, the best example is Mother Yashoda, to whom the Lord gave endless pleasure through his omnipotence as well as through his childish acts.
Dear devotees, all glories to Mother Yashoda. So with this, I would like to conclude today's session by saying something. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvam sahapurayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guru reva menai. Yadatra skalitam kinchit. It's possible I might have slipped, I might have made some mistakes in this presentation. Vidvam saha. You are all learned devotees. And Vidushis. There are many Vaishnavis also here who are Vidushis. Purayantu tat. You please correct any mistakes. But Yadatra saushthavam kinchit. If you found anything to be nice in the entire presentation, a single slide, single verse, single sentence, single word, single syllable, half a syllable. You can't break below that in grammar. Please understand, even if half a syllable was nice, tad guru reva. It belongs to my Gurujanas only, my Diksha Guru, Sri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, my Shiksha Gurus, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, all the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada, all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas from all the parivars that have existed in the past, present, and future, including all of you. It belongs to all of you. It doesn't belong to me. You are my Shiksha Gurus. Kindly accept this as an offering into you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So once again, yeah, the kids now understood. But special thanks to the kids for keeping quiet for such a long time. Yes, now it's their time. Balanam Rodanam Balam. Kids have one strength, shouting. Yes, so thanks to them for not expressing their strength during the program. So do we have time, Prabhu, or do we have to end right now? What is it? We can take a few questions. Okay. So I follow Prabhuji's advice. We can take a few queries or comments. I'll be a little louder because I have to compete with the kids now. Yes. Yes, Mataji.
I have a question. I was wondering how far you're along with the translation, and would we have to wait for the whole 49 chapters to be translated, or will you release it in segments?
Yeah. So by Krishna's mercy, in 1.5 years, I was able to translate 6 chapters of Bhakti Rasayanam. The first chapters were very difficult. I was just getting used to his Sanskrit. So it took me 4 months to get through the first chapter. But later I got used to it. And all branches of knowledge were tested. Sometimes in frustration, I have spent days trying to decipher some of the verses. 6 chapters are done. When the 7th chapter will be done, the first volume of Bhakti Rasayanam will be out. At the same time, work on English translation has also started. But this is in Hindi. First attempt was in Hindi. English translation has also started. So once English translation is also done, it will be brought out in segments. But I am thinking I'll do shorter segments for English so that devotees will receive it on a more frequent basis. Devotees. So recently, a few months ago, I had the good fortune of going to Nasik, which is his place. And in Nasik, there is an ISKCON center where the devotees, they pointed out where his samadhi is. So we located his samadhi. And there was a 3-day program in Nasik on Damodar Leela with his commentary. So on the first day, I had the biggest audience of my life. I had never had such an audience, even in the cities. In Nasik on the first day, 1,500 devotees came there. So I took this as an indication that he was pleased with the effort. On the second day, his descendant came. His 5th generation descendant is still present. So his descendant was informed. So his descendant came, and his descendant said that usually we don't give the keys of the samadhi to anybody outside our family, but I am the last generation, and he has no sons. So he said, I would like to give a copy of the key to ISKCON of Nasik. So there is a possibility that the entire legacy of this commentator may come to our society. It is possible because these are Sanskrit commentators on the Srimad Bhagavatam, very valuable personalities. How many Sanskrit commentators have we had in the last 1 century? Absolutely none. So these commentators are very rare. So even if we are able to preserve the legacy of one commentator, it would be very nice. So this is the attempt. Let's hope that I'm able to do it. The chapters ahead are very difficult because in the 3rd chapter, it was very difficult. 192 verses, Krishna's appearance. Every weather change, the river start flowing 3 verses. The trees become green 4 verses. Putna comes in front of him, he closes his eyes. 13 reasons for Krishna closing his eyes. Dear devotees. So every reason has you can't think straight. He doesn't think simple. The one thing about him is he doesn't think simple. So you can use complexity in the service of Krishna, and this is a prime example of that. So let's pray that the first volume comes out. I pray for the blessings of the Vaishnavas, that I am able to do it for the pleasure of my Guru Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. So I'm hoping that in this generation, his work can be preserved and translated. Any queries? Yes, Mati.
First of all glories to you, Prabhu, for bringing this out. And yes, I think so. In this call, I just heard only from you about very soon. And this legacy that you have got, I think so. It's all glories to you.
Actually, originally it belongs to my Guru Maharaj, who first was speaking about it. And then there was a person in, where did my Guru Maharaj hear it from? So I also asked him. So there was a sadhu whose name was Sri Akhandanand Saraswati. He was earlier an impersonalist. He used to stay in Kashi. In Kashi, there was the Shankaracharya. His name was Karpatri Swami, very famous personality in India, who had cursed Indira Gandhi once, and his curse had come true. So this was the Shankaracharya. When he read this commentary, Bhakti Rasayanam, he had expressed a desire that this commentary should someday get translated. He said, this is one of the finest commentaries I have seen. When Swami Akhandanand Saraswati, he saw this commentary, he decided that I will only read Srimad Bhagavatam henceforth. He shifted to Vrindavan and he became a devotee of the Lord. He became a Bhagavata after that. Few years later, Swami Akhandanand Saraswati met Srila Prabhupada and he performed kirtan with the devotees. There is a photograph of Swami Akhandanand Saraswati and Srila Prabhupada doing kirtan. His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj is playing the mridanga in the background. So he was the one who tried to translate it for the first time. He did a few verses of the first chapter, but could not continue. So I'm trying to pick it up from where, from the first chapter, where a few verses that he translated. So let's see. It's a project which can bring even an impersonalist into the fold of Bhakti. The commentary has that capability. So let's see.
All sincere prayers.
Thank you, Mati.
And I have a question, like one of the words you were mentioning about Mother Yashoda, and how she was 50 points in anxiety. So practically in our day-to-day life, how can we practice that?
Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 64 limbs of Bhakti. Limb number 16 is to not be in anxiety. One of the 64 limbs of Bhakti, see, limb number 10 to 20 are negative limbs. Not to do this, not to do this, not to do this. Limb number 16 is not to take any anxieties in life. And there is a verse which he quotes there, Shoka Marshadibhir Bhavair Akrantam Yasya Manasam Katham Tatra Mukundasya Spurti Sambhavana Bhavait, whose mind is overtaken by negative feelings such as lamentation, anger, etc. There is the possibility that such a person will be able to spontaneously remember Mukunda. It is one of the limbs of our bhakti to remain happy. Actually, to be happy is one of the 64 limbs of bhakti. What to say? The devotees should simplify their lives. But, sometimes in order to simplify our lives, we make it more complicated.
Chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and one of the purpose Prabhupada mentions that to be anxious for Krishna is always good. To anxious to serve devotees is always good.
100% correct. This is good for those who have already seen Krishna once. Those who are siddhas, like Arjuna, they are taking unlimited anxiety for Krishna. That is transcendental. You can encapsulate it in the term transcendental. I know my anxiety is not transcendental. So anyways, my anxiety is not transcendental. I am worrying if I can carry out my maintenance on a day-to-day basis. Is this transcendental anxiety? Absolutely not. Transcendental anxiety is what Mother Yashoda experienced, what Arjuna experienced. Those devotees come under the encapsulation of the term transcendental. For me, the instruction by Rupa Goswami is pacify your mind, remain without anxieties. Vacho vegam, manasaha krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropastha vegam. Etan vegan yo vishaheta, visheshena saheta. Tolerate especially these urges, especially the urge of the mind. This is the instruction for sadhak. So for a sadhak, I have to reduce as many distractions, as many anxieties as possible in my life by taking to a simpler life. Sanatan Goswami did that by giving up all the 8 gold coins that he had. There is a very good way of reducing anxieties. Very good way. Bhagwan has 6 opulences, one of which is renunciation. Give away your anxieties to Krishna by giving up your material possessions. It is very important to give up, because you also give up your anxieties. By giving up, you also give up your anxieties. So give up some of your anxieties unto Krishna. It is very important to keep a very simple life for bhajan. To keep a very simple life for bhajan.
What do you call the anxiety that we have? Suppose I think so is this right to be the best person. Like when we make a goal of distributing a particular set of Bhagavatam and being at a period of anxiety. What do you call that anxiety when we want to serve the devotees? What do you call that anxiety when we have to give class and we have to serve the deities? Is that anxiety not is something that you do?
See, that is the anxiety of a sadhaka. So I can't call it material because it is taken for the purpose of service of Krishna. But at the same time, what is the most important rule for the sadhaka in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. If the anxiety is causing us to forget Krishna, then that anxiety should be rejected. I'm just giving a right hand rule. Okay, I don't want to get into specific details about book distribution because I don't want to. All sevas are glorious. I cannot trivialize any service. But the most important service is that we are members of International Society for Krishna consciousness. If Krishna is not within our consciousness, then what is the purpose of being a member of ISKCON? If at the end of the day, let's say he takes a lot of anxiety, but he is always thinking favorably of Krishna, so it's worth taking the anxiety. But that he has to decide. That anxiety is okay if it facilitates your remembrance of Krishna. Whatever facilitates anukulyasya sankalpaha. Accept what is favorable. Pratikulyasya varjam. Reject what is not favorable. That's all. And favorable or not favorable is decided by one's own analysis, not by a list which is given by somebody else. It's very important. So that is, it is very important to have that spontaneity. All right. Okay. Nobody else. Sure, we can have, but I think devotees might have to go back also. So we have to respect the time factor, all encompassing time factors. Yeah. So I think we can start preparing plates for devotees, and if devotees want to take prasadam away also, they can take away. Meanwhile, I will do some.
No takeaway, no sense.
The purpose of saying was, even if you take away, you can take away, but the purpose of saying is that please at least mentally give something to other recipients. There's no problem in takeaway boxes. That's Hari Parshad Das who likes to make a loose comment about whatever he sees in the society. So don't mind that person. Okay. So devotees who want to take away, please take away. I am very thankful to all the devotees who kindly came. Mother Krishna Priya, Mother Urmila, and Mother Champaklata, and Leela Shakti Mataji, and Ratna Radhika Mataji, Aditya Narayan Prabhu, Mother Rudrani, and Drishta Prabhu, and Mother Kamalini. Okay. So I hope I remembered everybody's name correctly. Yes. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly coming here. I expect the blessings of all the seniors. So you please, whatever you have received from Srila Prabhupada, from all the Guru Janas, you please give unto me. I have the right to demand that. Don't have. This is one thing I can demand. So please give. A small child can demand. So please give whatever you have received from Srila Prabhupada as a blessing unto me. Thank you very much. I'll be quick. Okay, and then devotees can meanwhile start preparing for prasadam, or those who want to take away can.
Probably just one announcement about our schedule.
Any better?
Huh? So, I'll just speak out. Hare Krishna, you can hear me. So, Kishore would like to just thank his Krishna. It's such a wonderful, heart melting session. The kind of commentary that we look forward to. Prabhu started the class by talking about rasa, right? How rasa is so important. And through his classes, we actually get a glimpse of that rasa that we are aspiring for. So we are very, very grateful to Prabhuji, and also the contribution that he's doing to the world and the ISKCON society by writing this commentary is just so, so wonderful. So we are very grateful to have Prabhu's association here. Really a blessing. So thank you so much, Prabhuji.
I was inspired in my pursuit of Shastri studies also by Mother Urmila, who very kindly inspired me many times in, writing nice papers. And she also corrected me on steps where I went wrong. And so she's here, and everybody should say 3 loud Hari Bols for Mother Urmila.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. You've done that, so now you're just gonna have to take it.
So now there's Kirtan, so let's bring it.
I really feel that our worship group is one of the top preachers and teachers in our whole life. I mean, I've heard so many classes, with so many stories for decades. And I just don't think there's very many that are in the same class. So I feel very, on every level, on the level of sweetness, on the level of teaching, on the level of scholarship, on the level of realization, on the level of just authenticity. And I feel very, very privileged that I've been able to render some service. To work together on some projects. Especially want to thank our worship for translating our Dusty songs on a shoot show. And if you have that, if you don't have it, you buy it, you come with it. And maybe come with you with some copies of our worship and sign it for you. And of course, he's one of the core members of the Shastri Advisory Council. And if any of you read any of our papers that are online, a huge amount of the credit goes to our worship. Make sure that our level of scholarship is to the maximum degree. I don't know how he tolerates this crazy New York lady. I think this is great. Thank you very much.
You are dealing with a crazy Maharashtrian person.
So you got the city people. I'm thinking I grew up in Midtown Manhattan.
In India, I am born in the West. So in India, I am a Western devotee.
Okay, so yes, really fortunate to have such wonderful associations. Okay, Prabhu, Mother Urmila, and all the wonderful Vaishnavas here. So let's give a big Hari Bol to all the wonderful Vaishnavas. And also we have more nectar tomorrow and day after. So tomorrow the class starts at 3 p.m. in the temple. So we are going to have a 2-part session. So please do join us tomorrow 3 p.m. at the temple. And then Sunday we have 2 classes, one in the morning and one will be a part of the Sunday feast. Please do join us for this session. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,